Welcome. Hello, my name is Jason Head, and I am the Team D leader, and I am joined here by a coalition of professionals that create this makeshift Chamber of Commerce. We are for the economy and business community. All of these topics that you will hear about were generated from one of the very many steering committees that were created either by an elected official or a community professional. You will notice that we chose to weave workforce development into all of our topics, which include insurance and banking, business survey, current and future, reestablishing buildings and rebuilding destroyed buildings, renewable energy, eco-industrial parks, tourism, and we also created an economic development strategy. To start us off, Liz Brink will dive into insurance and banking. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Am I on? I'm on. I'm being on. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Liz. I'm just going to give you a rundown of the info that we have so far. Remember that there are a lot of moving parts happening right now. We have local, state, and federal agencies, organizations of all types, nonprofits, plus our friends, neighbors, and loved ones from all over reaching out to help and assist us. Please keep checking in at the tent for the latest info. We have a sign-in sheet for all business owners to sign. Please put your name, your business name, how we can contact you, and what you need or even what you may be able to offer to help in the recovery effort. Do you need help removing debris, cutting down a tree? For those getting ready to harvest, do you need storage? Do you need a row crop header out there? If you happen to have extra silo space, if you can help with harvesting, put that on the list too. We just need to get an idea of where we are at and what we are dealing with to make the most out of this year. Banking. I know a couple of the banks and credit unions are mobilizing to set up mobile offices. If your bank is not one of them, you can check out shared branching locations. If you need further assistance, come to the tent. Insurance. Various insurance companies will be setting up tents or trailers so you can work with agents on your claims. Assistance. Agencies such as Red Cross, FEMA, KDEM, SBA, Health and Human Services, HUD, Army Corps of Engineers, USDA, Kiowa County will have representatives in the tent. These agencies and organizations have programs, loans, and grants, but you need to come and fill out an application so they know you are interested. Don't know if you qualify? Fill out an application anyway. Various organizations are donating clothing, gift cards, housing items, vouchers, and volunteer labor. New assistance seems to be showing up daily, so please keep checking in. Permitting. If you are rebuilding or considering rebuilding, come down to the tent to get your building permit. The process has been streamlined. Long term, we're working on getting Kansas Enterprise Zone status to help us with our rebuild and growth. This will help us with tax rates, regulatory exemptions, etc. And we'll be looking to encourage new growth and the rebuild to be green. With LEED certifications come tax incentives. Maybe we create multi-use, multi-purpose buildings. More funding could come for development through these green programs. Again, reach out if you're interested. Again, reach out if you need anything. Please say something, and if we don't have an immediate answer for you, we'll work on getting it. So next up, we have Rob.
Thank you, Liz. How you doing? My name is Rob Cruz, and I'm training director for Daytona Beach, here to discuss some concerns for small business, specifically taking a survey of what we got, what we have, what we need, future now, so forth, right? So as I said, my name is Rob Cruz, and I'd like to discuss some of the needs of small business as well as the needs of the community. So prior to the storm, the economy in this town relied on agricultural and farm needs. Yeah, there were a few establishments that were geared towards residents, such as beauty parlors and restaurants, but there wasn't a coffee shop. So right now, many of them are trying to reestablish businesses. We're trying to get back up and running. The biggest problem we're finding is that there's a lot of debris around. There isn't the same property that we had. Somebody wants to set up camp somewhere else. So with all those things, we got to make sure that we're helping each other. We're all working together to clear not only our homes, but also a lot of these retail spots that we had or that somebody had. Because it's important to keep our residents encouraged that we are staying home, that this is a community. That's something that we can't lose sight of, whatever's going on here. We need to help each other out. We should think about merging locations, as I said, to try to accommodate each other. So with this decimation, some restrictions will be lifted, and of course there will be some zoning changes. But remember, location, 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 right? Since every structure downtown was felled except one, no longer are the constraints placed on a business. The highway was not here when this town was started and Main Street came around. So maybe a lot of these stores might want to face the highway. Maybe they want to try to bring some of those businesses in. But we don't want to lose sight of downtown. We want downtown to still be a community place. So there's going to be a lot of things going on. The city is really talking a lot about going green, and with that, we're going to need a lot of management teams and everybody else in downtown. We could set up a lot of those small stores. Some places have outgrown their old retail spots, so they may be looking to get a bigger lot. As I said, some of them may just want to move around. We are going to lose business. That's a fact, but we are going to gain business. Some of them one-on-one. We lose the pharmacist, we get another pharmacist, right? But there's also going to be new business that we got to bring in. There's going to be things sold downtown that haven't even been invented yet, So we got to make sure that there are places that when people do come here, that there are shops set up for them. Retail, maybe some tax incentives, a lot of things like that. So what we said, while some older businesses will close, there will be others. But we have to look to change our ideas of commerce. We have to try to attract large companies. Yes, Greenburgh is a very rural community. Everybody knows that, right? But it also lacks a lot of the conveniences that the majority of the country takes for granted, such as high-speed internet and large box stores. Talks have already begun for an eco-friendly industrial park that can house many types of industries. So it's important that we try to bring not only retail establishments here, but there's also a lot of large air traffic or airplane stuff, all right, that is in the area that we can try to attract in our eco-friendly industrial park. As I said, Highway 54, while some may say, hey, there's a lot of traffic going there, the key is we need to try to get that traffic to come towards us and come into this town. Having the stores facing those consumers will really help. And again, downtown Main Street can still stay downtown Main Street. We can have a lot of community events. We can always have our parades. We can always make sure that there is a place for the community to congregate. But we have to think about what we're going to do in the future. Again, there's a lot of big box stores out there that would love to come in here. We don't want to push out the mom and pops, but who doesn't want a Buc-ee's? Who doesn't want a Walmart, right? So let's think about trying to attract some of those, and we got to make sure that we're doing green. And with that, I would like to introduce Clovis Brown, Training Director, Memphis, Tennessee.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Rob. I'm Clovis Brown. I'm Training Director for Memphis Electrical JTC out of IBW 474 in Memphis. and member of this economics and business team. I'd like to add on to where Rob left off and just briefly discuss renewable energy and the eco-industrial park opportunities that are available as we plan this rebuilding of the Greensburg community. These areas fall into every aspect of this rebuilding process. As we've listened to each steering committee and team that has come up here, they've all laid out specific ideas and plans. And it's our team's job on the economics and business team to assist them in carrying these plans out. Our goals and targets that I'm going to show in just a minute, they're most likely to be a moving target as we collaborate with all the other planning teams and the community. So we're going to go through this little list here on renewable and alternative energy sources. Well, first off on here is wind. It's a very viable resource. It's very plentiful here in the Kansas area. And we can use this to create commercial wind farms and individual wind turbines on individual properties. We also have solar, photovoltaic solar available. It's also a very viable resource here. These installations can be industrial and commercial solar farms and placed on individual residences and small businesses as well. We have geothermal heating, which is another viable resource. This can also be used in industrial, commercial, and residential applications. We've got, we need to utilize LEED building methods. Like I said, each steering committee and team has laid specific plans for this out. And, you know, this can be achieved through the use of energy-efficient building materials, appliances, low-flow water and conserving fixtures, LED lighting, building automation technologies, and smart home technologies. Design and implementation of these renewable and alternative energy sources, they're going to be a great benefit to the building process. We also need to consider rebuilding our community utilizing the eco-industrial park design. Now, this is where a community of businesses locate on a common property in which the businesses seek to achieve enhanced environmental, economic, and social performance through a collaboration in managing environmental and resource issues. In short, it's a multi-use facility. Okay, so now let's take a look at our short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals and targets that we have up here. So the short-term, by utilizing renewables and the LEED and and the eco-industrial park designs, it's going to help create short-term, it's going to create some commerce. We want to create and centralize industries. We want to keep our workers local. Okay, midterm, it's going to help create tax incentives. And with this, we have the possibility of surviving off the grid, selling the electricity and power back to the grid, which gives us credits. So it just lowers the cost for all of us in the community. And we want these things large enough to draw different types of industries in for new growth. And long term, you know, we're going to use these modern building methods that are going to be sustainable and upgradable. Okay? This crisis that came with this tornado, it's created an opportunity for the Greensburg community to lead the state of Kansas by being the first in the state to pave the way in renewables, alternative energy, LEED building design, and eco-industrial park design by creating multi-use facilities. We have an obligation to rebuild in a manner that's not only cutting edge in these areas, but also by considering this approach in its practicality, okay? We should strive to always be sound environmental stewards mixed with being sound financial stewards of our community. This not only is prudent for the present, but it's sustainable for our future generations. We want to leave this place better than we found it. I urge everyone involved in every aspect of this crisis to consider the rebuilding of the Greensburg community with the design and implementation of renewable energy, LEED building methods, and utilization of eco-industrial park facilities. Our next presenter will be Sarah Orgel to discuss the various tourism opportunities.
Sorry, I'm going to put these all up here first so I don't have to click during the... Thank you. My name is Sarah. My name is Sarah Orgel. I'm with Northern California Chapter NECA, and I have the opportunity to talk about tourism today. With all the cleanup and rebuilding that must occur, we want to make sure to bring the community tourism, focusing on ideas that will allow money to come in and create interest to continue to help sustain and grow the city. Unfortunately, this city has been through an incredibly awful tragedy. What I was tasked with was thinking of ways that we can turn this tragedy into a way to help pick up the pieces and keep Greensburg moving forward in the future. To start, I'm going to look at options for current tourism. To name a few, we have the largest and deepest hand-dug well in the Western Hemisphere. We have a meteorite, hunting, and of course, agriculture. So how do we turn these into tourism? I would start with marketing. Marketing both the well and meteorite using signs, brochures, TV, advertisements, and internet at neighboring city airports, city centers, and hotels to share interest to travelers coming through. For hunting, create hunting excursions, day trips, and longer stays to try to pull people in from other areas. This also creates a place where people will come, such as a hotel, to have people stay longer and spend more money here. For agriculture, ag tours have tours or classes that help people or guests to the community understand the ag land and how it's worked, what is being grown, etc. Ag shows on equipment and other farming tools. Bring in vendors to help them set up sales in the community and surrounding areas, but make sure to host it here. Classes on what farming equipment and haulers are being used and why it was selected for the use. Those are just some ideas for what we have now. Now I'm going to move into current and future. Use the vast land for outdoor large-scale events like weddings or festivals. Events for donors and city, state, federal, nonprofit foundations, foundation and other officials and other generous donors to show off the rebuild and to celebrate the progress made and to remember what was and those that were lost. This would also be an event to continue to raise money for continued improvement. Ideas such as hosting galas, dances, dinners, and festivals would also be something to consider. Educational opportunities with tourism would be to provide top-notch training, education opportunities to keep your citizens and attract new citizens to the area. Utilize the two buildings still standing, the courthouse and the Robinette building, which I hope I'm saying correct, and deem them historical sites. These sites should be protected. Create tours of historical sites of the city, what survived the storm, what was restored or created. Use a museum layout to show what happened here and include a detailed timeline of the store, videos or news reports from the time of the event, both before, if there is anything during, and then the aftermath. Include the city's history and important key pieces on what makes Greensburg, Greensburg. before the tragedy and what it wants to be in the future. Include a memorial area to remember those that were lost. The education aspect of tourism is my next place I'm going to move into. Start bringing in team building retreats. Special meetings with key leaders from the community would be a great place to start. What would be the topic? You could do crisis management, communication, innovation, and of course, agriculture. Invite groups such as city, state, federal government officials, city planners, building trades, rescue workers, emergency response teams, business leaders, and of course, NECA, IBW, and the ETA. Provide stories of what happened here. Special meetings with, I already said that part, sorry. Stories on, and then of course to include stories on what worked here and what didn't. Education classes on city innovation and using new technologies and sustainability. Education classes on weather patterns and spotting and communicating dangerous weather. Apprenticeship programs for trades or ag. Programs to learn about marketing and hospitality. The more we keep people interested on the area, the less chance they will leave and go elsewhere, and the more chance to gain more people coming in who are passing through. To rebuild for a great future, tourism will bring new people, exciting memories, and more opportunities for local community people to find a job or a career they love. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jason.
Thank you, Sarah. As Sarah mentioned, a quick business survey, we found that there were only 2 buildings standing that had minor damage right after the storm. Those buildings were immediately designated as a gathering point. The courthouse would be one of those buildings, and by gathering there, it created a beacon of hope. It also created a location to have a head count and to share information, like volunteer lists or supply lists, as Liz mentioned. This building also played as a vital role in the following hours and days while we experienced additional tornadoes and dangerous weather. The other building, the old bank, Robinette Building, was designated for triage, and immediate emergency services. Those played a crucial role during the hours to follow that tornado. We also discussed the airport, or lack of. Short-term need, we prepared an open area at the southern tip of the city to establish 2 helicopter landing pads. One would be designated for medical purposes for local, state, and federal agencies, while the other would be used for transporting supplies and state and federal dignitaries. The long-term needs, we collaborated with a local crop fertilizing aircraft businesses to establish an airport on the east side of the town near the expressway. Our primary goal was to focus on immediate needs of the community. So we have prioritized the development of a grass runway to accommodate the current demand. However, we're also actively exploring, as Rob mentioned, opportunities to provide an asphalt runway. And once we identify a business or project with such requirements, we're fully prepared to undertake the paving process. Our commitment remains firmly rooted in supporting the local economy and building the transportation infrastructure that serves both present and future needs. This group was also tasked with creation of an economic development strategy. This will be a wrap-up. So a lot of things you'll see were woven into everybody else's plan, including ours. Short-term needs, assessment and planning. Conduct a damage assessment to determine the extent of the destruction. Collaborate with federal, state, and local agencies to secure funding for immediate relief and long-term recovery, as Liz mentioned. Midterm needs, we established a local task force or committee comprised of community leaders, business owners, and residents to oversee the recovery process. We prioritized reconstruction of critical infrastructure, including roads, utilities, public buildings to facilitate access and restore essential services, as you heard earlier. Explore sustainable and energy-efficient technologies when rebuilding infrastructure to reduce long-term operational costs. Business support and incentives. Provide financial assistance and incentives to local businesses for reopening or expanding their existing operations. Encourage diversification of the local economy by attracting new industries and businesses such as renewable energy to create job opportunities. 15 years ago, some of this conversation about renewable energies probably wasn't as popular as it is today. We believe that there's going to be a great opportunity, a future near opportunity for the home of Greensburg. Long-term goals include workforce development, establish job training and skill development programs to equip the local workforce with the skills needed for new and emerging industries, partner with local education institutes and vocational training centers to ensure that the workforce is prepared for available job opportunities like nursing and wind turbine maintenance and repair. Sustainable initiatives. Promote sustainability practices and environmental responsibility by incorporating green building standards and renewable energy sources in the reconstruction process, as you heard earlier. Invest in sustainability agriculture, promoting local food production, and reducing the food miles, the distance that you actually carry the food out of the town, as you heard from Rob. Tourism and community engagement. Promote the town's unique story of resilience and recovery to attract tourists and investment. Develop a plan to engage the community in the recovery process, including town hall meetings, community workshops, and online platforms for input and feedback. Housing recovery, as you heard earlier. Addressing housing shortages by providing incentives for affordable and disaster-resistant housing construction. Partner with housing organizations and nonprofits to assist displaced residents in finding suitable housing. Small business incubation. Establish small business incubators or co-working spaces to encourage entrepreneurship and local business growth. Provide mentoring and financial support to startup ventures and help them integrate into local economies. Disaster preparedness and reliance. Develop a disaster preparedness plan to ensure the community is better equipped to respond to future emergencies. Invest in improved warning systems, evacuation plans, and community shelters. Marketing and branding. Develop a comprehensive marketing strategy to showcase Greenburgh's recovery, emphasizing on its commitment to sustainability and resilience. Engage in regional and national marketing efforts to attract investment and visitors. Collaboration and partnerships. Foster partnerships with regional and national organizations, including economic development agencies, nonprofits, and educational institutions to access additional resources and expertise. Regular progress assessments. Continuously evaluate and adjust the economic development strategy to adapt to changing needs and opportunities. Here we are, 15 years later. Perhaps that's something we have to revisit. Communicate progress and outcomes to the community to maintain transparency and engagement. And with that, that was our team's plan to help in the economy and business.
All right, well done. Bob, any observations?
Yeah, I was thinking about
My idea never got off the ground when you're talking about tourism. A lot of communities in rural America have, a fall festival, or they have a corn maze, or those kind of things. I thought we ought to have a flamingo festival. And that way we would be iconic on the high plains of our native plastic flamingos. And we could have a weekend with bands and food, and we could have a pile of sand in one of our parks and have sand volleyball. And anyway, I thought I'd just throw a little humor in there. On economic development, I still believe deep down in my heart that for us to thrive in a business park, we need to approach companies that want to do research and development on a small level without a tremendous investment in alternative energies, because we are our own utility here in the city. And so they could be able to utilize some of that without being tied into the major, huge utility companies. And whether it's nanotechnology in paint or whatever, you could do it at a smaller investment level. And that would be tourism, too, of bringing people to showcase their new products.
All right, Frank, anything?
Yeah, two observations. The first part, which I'll take for the first 4 presentations, I really thought it was creative that I thought that they were talking to me directly. If it was in August or September 2007, when I was part of the community. I thought that, I don't know if that was your purpose, but I really thought that feel, and I thought that was excellent. The last part, which is the wrap-up, disconnected to me from what you first of all presented. Although I liked the wrap-up, I thought the wrap-up would have been an excellent presentation after all 5 groups were gone, because you kind of touched parts of every group. So I thought on its own it was very good, but I found a disconnect to it in the presentation from what your theatrical part was going to be. Does that make sense? One part, it seemed like you were in August or June. The other part, you seemed like you were kind of talking about what we were all doing.
All right, we've had 4 outstanding presentations today, as far as I'm concerned. And Team E, you get to bring up the rear. Come on up.